Okay. So today we are going to start with sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma is a simple permanent tissue or a complex permanent tissue? Simple permanent tissue. We know that, right? It's a simple permanent tissue. Now, so with respect to the nature of the tissue, that's the first point we always mention. We say that it is a dead mechanical tissue. So the tissue is dead and it's a mechanical tissue, meaning will it perform any vital functions? No. Last lecture you remember vital functions. So it will be performing only the mechanical functions, giving support, etc. So if you remember collenchyma was a living mechanical tissue, but could also perform vital function like photosynthesis. Here it is a dead mechanical tissue. So if I am asked, sir, out of the three, which is the main mechanical tissue, I'll go with what? Sclerenchyma. Okay. So if you are supposed to choose for mechanical functions between the three, we'll choose sclerenchyma over collenchyma. Okay. Now, how does the tissue become dead? Is it dead right from the beginning? The answer is no. So initially, the cells were living, right? With their nucleus and their cytoplasm. So it was a living tissue. But over a period of time, there was depositions of lignin, a carbohydrate called lignin, on the cell walls. And you know, lignin is impervious to water. It is impermeable to water. So gradually, the protoplasm inside will remain alive or will it die? It will die. And the cell walls will become very thick, ready to give what? Mechanical support. Okay? So this death of protoplasm for the process of what we call differentiation occurs during the formation of sclerenchyma. Understood how the birth of sclerenchyma took place, Bachelo? How did the birth of sclerenchyma take place? There was death of protoplasm due to lignification, and that will come under what, Bachelo? Differentiation of a living tissue into a dead tissue. Correct, everybody? Okay. So then we talk about its characteristic features, Bachelo. That is, there is depositions of lignin on their walls. Mostly, these cells are elongated. Right, guys? How are the cells? Elongated. And the walls are lignified. There are certain areas where I see the presence of pits. And pits are not pores. I hope you understood my point. I said they are pits. They are not pores. Because if you see, the lignin is absent. What my point? But the primary wall layers are there. So what is a pit? It's an unlignified area. What's a pit, Buchlo? It's a unlignified area. So if you are asked, pits is a pore, answer is no. It's a unlignified area. An area where the lignin is absent. Okay? And then the space inside will be called as a lumen. That is the space called lumen. What did everybody? The other type would be where the sclerenchyma cells are highly lignified and they show the presence of a very narrow lumen. So the walls are highly lignified. Okay? And the lumen is very narrow. So when the cells are elongated and they are tapering with lignified walls but a broader lumen, it is called as a sclerenchyma fiber. And if these walls are highly lignified with a very narrow lumen, it is called as a sclerenchyma sclereid cell. So the difference is in their shapes and the amount of lignification, resulting in the formation of sclerenchyma fibers and sclerenchyma sclereids. Got it, everybody? You will see the presence of sclerenchyma in the hypodermis of a monocot stem and other locations also, which I am going to tell you gradually. So if I talk about the types and functions, along with their locations, then if you talk about the function, then the function would be to give what, Buchlo? Mechanical support. That will remain constant because it's a dead mechanical tissue. Their types would be two types, Buchlo. What are they? Sclerenchyma fibers and sclerenchyma sclereids. Okay. The sclerenchyma fibers can be of different types. Like there are fibers called surface fibers. Example, cotton fibers. The lint, cotton, kapus. These are the fibers which are present on the surface of the seed of cotton. So cotton jo ahe, it is actually what? It's a sclerenchyma fibers. Okay. Then kids, the coir of coconut. Okay. So one is the coconut shell. When the coconut has become dry, the whole fruit I am talking about, not only on the inside, nut ki nahi baat kar raha, puri ki baat kar raha. So at that time, if you open the pericarp, the fruit wall, inside it shows the presence of fibers, which are called as the coir of coconut, if you remember. Now let's go. Coir of coconut. And in villages, they use that coir to wash utensils with ash. What my point? So that coir of coconut is actually the fibers which are found in the mesocarp. Right, kids? Then we also see the presence of xylem fibers. For example, it's called munch, M-U-N-J, munch. It is used for making those ropes, sutli types of ropes. Those type of ropes. Those come under which fibers? Xylem fibers. Then, commercially important fibers are sclerenchyma fibers, which are found in phloem. What are they? Sclerenchyma fibers, which are found in phloem. And these include jute fibers, then sun hemp and flax. Goni वगैरह, jute कपड़े. They can be weaved. They can be weaved. You समझता? हाँ. So what are the commercially important ones, bachelo? You understand commercially important? Yes. Business-wise important. Jute, sun hemp, and flax. These are what, bachelo? Phloem fibers. So you have what? Surface fibers, oil of coconut, xylem fibers, and phloem fibers. All are different examples of what, bachelo? Fibers. Okay. The sclerids occur in different shapes, bachelo. So you don't have the shapes, but if the sclerid is star shaped, it's called astrosclerid. Then there are different bradysclerids, etc. Some of the sclerids are also known as stone cells, as they are very tough. They are called as which cells, bachelo? Stone cells. And you will find them in the fruit wall of nuts. So have you eaten a walnut, bachcho? Walnut. How is a walnut ka wall? Tough. Akhroot ka wall kaise rehta hai? Ekdam tough rehta hai. Similarly, kids, you must have observed the coconut ka andar ka shell. These are all made up of what, bachcho? Sclerid. So written there, it is found in the fruit walls of nuts. It is also found in the seed coat of legumes. The wall of the legumes, like the suka watana and all, it is very tough. Got it? Then it is also seen in the pulp of pear, guava, sapota, etc. So pear, which is raw, you know pear, bachelo. Guava is your peru. Sapota is your chiku. All these three fruits, when they are raw, how is their wall, bachelo? How are the fruits? Very tough. Kadak kadak istanda they. Can you bite on them? No. But during the time of fruit ripening, certain hormones and enzymes are released, which will soften the fruit wall. Why are these fruit walls tough initially? In order to protect the developing seed inside. Right? Because the seed is showing the presence of an embryo, the baby plant. So if the sparrow or other bird will try to peck on it, like samajhte na, choch marna, will it be able to reach the embryo seeds, or will it be able to eat that? No, it's still raw. So inside the embryo gets protected. But as time passes and the embryo has developed, the embryo itself wants to go out. Got my point? So we need to give the birds some seed dispersal reward. We need to give it food. So over a period of time, with the help of hormones and enzymes, these walls will start becoming softer. There will be formation of sugars. What my point? They'll start getting color and flavor. And when they become soft, the birds will visit it, the animals will visit it for what, bachelo? food. So see the gradual change. So when they are raw, the pulp of pure guava and sapota is very tough because of the presence of sclerin. But you got the logic why it is tough. But when you eat, is it tough or is it soft?
Soft.
And there is a physiology called fruit ripening behind it. And the reason is because you want seed dispersal. Similarly, it is also found in the leaves of tea. Okay? When the tea is plucked, the young tea leaves show the presence of these sclerins. And the young tea leaves are very bitter. So initially they are fermented and then they are used. The tea that we usually drink is called dust tea. Okay, it is like the throwaway of the tea. जे उरलं सुरलेलं असतं ना ते आपण यूज करतो. The actual original tea leaves are very costly. Darjeeling tea, like a small packet would be of 2,000 rupees and all that. And actually, the high quality teas are auctioned for millions of dollars, like lakhs and lakhs of rupees. ते उडतं ना, ठीक आहे, तो जो डस्ट म्हणतात टी डस्ट उरलेलं ते आपण पितो सोसायटी. आलं लक्षात? Search on net, go on Amazon and search for Darjeeling tea, the pure ones. Okay? They're very costly, small these things. So initially these tea leaves, because of the presence of sclerenchyma, okay, the wall is very tough, but over a period of time, we allow it to ferment and soften the tea leaves. So these are the different places where you see the presence of fibers and sclerins. You get my point? So this was the third of the simple tissue. That was sclerenchyma. Correct, kids? Then among the complex tissues. So what is the difference, between a complex permanent tissue and a simple permanent tissue? Do you recollect the difference, Simple has only one type of cells, whereas a complex tissue has got different types of cells. Which is a complex tissue responsible for conduction of water, bachcho? Xylem. Right, bachcho? So, xylem is considered as a living tissue or a dead tissue, kids? No. Xylem is considered as a dead tissue. Okay? And what is the main function of the xylem? It helps in the conduction of sap. What is the word I am using? Sap. S-A-P. And what does this sap means? It is water plus what, Buchalo? Minerals. Okay? Other than the conduction of water and minerals, the xylem can also help in order to give what? Mechanical support. Hello, Lakshat Sarvana. This xylem, depending upon its origin, can be classified into two types. One, you remember procambium? Procambium athauta? This procambium is a primary meristem or a secondary meristem? Primary stem. It undergoes vascularization. Matlab it changes into a vascular tissue. You heard my point, bachalo? What did I say? Who, bachalo? Procambium. This procambium is an example of which meristem?
Primary meristem.
It's an example of a primary meristem. What does it undergo?
Vascularization.
It undergoes vascularization. And it results in the formation of the xylem, which is called as primary xylem. What do you call it? Primary xylem. Understood? This primary xylem elements are of two types. The first form and the later form. What's your birthday, Priyanka?
11 April 2006.
2006. Yours?
10 July 2006.
So who is first form between the two? Priyanka is first form. And Shravani becomes second form. Okay, you become so old now. You 6. You 6. I was already teaching by that time. क्या कर क्या रहा हो तुम लोग? Huh? 2006, I was planning to get married after earning for 2-3 years already. जा बहुत छोटा है तुम लोग या फिर मैं बूढ़ा हो गया बात क्या है हाँ अरे ओमकार कम से कम मेरे दिलासे के लिए थोड़ा 98 तो होती कम से कम So two types of primary xylem are there. What are they? First form and later form. The first form primary xylem is called protoxylem, and the later form primary xylem is called as metaxylem. The difference is, the protoxylem will have narrower cavities, and the metaxylem elements, as compared to the protoxylem, will have, how is the cavity, bachlo? It's a broader cavity. Okay? Now listen to something very important. Depending upon the location of protoxylem, depending upon the location of the protoxylem, there can be two types of primary xylems. If the protoxylem px likha hai, who is px? Protoxylem. If the protoxylem is towards the periphery and the metaxylem is towards the center, the condition is called exarch. What is the condition called?
Exarch.
Exarch. And if the protoxylem is towards the center and what bachlo? Metaxylem is towards the periphery, the condition is called as endarch. Did you understand endarch and exarch? Only remember the position of the protoxylem and the word. Okay? Protoxylem आठवतं? जर शब्द आहे एंडार्च, एंड म्हणजे आतमध्ये, एक्स म्हणजे बाहेर, तुमच्या लाईफच्या बाहेर म्हणजे एक्स, बरोबर की नाही? तसं एक्स इज व्हॉट? Periphery. End is what? Towards the center. So towards the periphery, protoxylem, the condition is called exarch. Towards the center, the condition is called endarch. Okay. So depending upon the origin, if the xylem arises from primary meristem, the xylem is called as the primary xylem. But what if the xylem originates from which meristem, guys? Secondary meristem. If it's originating from which meristem? secondary meristem, then the xylem will be called as secondary xylem. It's an indication of secondary growth, and there is no protoxylem or metaxylem classification. In which xylem? Secondary xylem. I hope my class clearly followed it. So xylem is a tissue primarily meant for the conduction of sap. Also gives what, Buchilo? Mechanical support. And it can be either classified as primary xylem or secondary xylem depending upon its origin. I have clearly understood everybody? Ayana? Xylem is made up of xylary elements. The components are called as the xylary elements. So, what is the xylem made up of? The xylem is made up of what, Buchilo? Tracheids. What are they called? Tracheids. The second type are called tracheae or the vessels. Then you have xylem sclerenchyma, also known as the xylem fibers, and you have the xylem parenchyma. Hello, Lakshat. Out of this, the first three are dead. Okay? And the xylem parenchyma is what, Buchilo? Living. So we got an MCQ over here, which is the only living cell in the dead xylem. So what is our answer, Buchilo? Xylem parenchyma is the only living cell in the dead xylem. So is the board work clear, everybody? Okay. Tuck, 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 tuck. Sclerenchyma. After that, we spoke about xylem. Barabar hai? Now we'll discuss these elements. That is the tracheids, tracheae, vessels, parenchyma, and the. Huh? Any questions? So kids, what are the different types of elements that are found in the xylem? Tracheids. Then you have what? Tracheae, which are also called as vessels. And then we have xylem sclerenchyma, which we said that these are xylem fibers. And we have got xylem parenchyma. Okay. Now, so the first type of element is the tracheids, and tracheids are most commonly found in whom, Buchilo? Pterophytes and gymnosperms. So what should I call them? Advanced conducting elements or primitive conducting elements? Can I say that? That the tracheids will be what, Buchilo? Primitive conducting elements. And in angiosperms, their percentage is very less. Only how much, Buchilo? 5% in angiospermic wood is what? Tracheids. Because 95% of angiospermic wood is what? Tracheae or the vessels. Okay. If you look at these cells, can I say they're elongated cells? They're tapering towards the ends. So I'm saying they are chisel-like chisels. Okay. And they are placed one above the another. So you have one placed above the other. Their end walls, look at the end walls, and pay attention to this point. They are imperforate. Imperforate does not mean that it is porous, but it means that it is pitted. So NCERT says that the end walls are imperforated. What is the word it is using? Imperforated. What does the word imperforated means? That it shows the presence of pits. And what are the pits? They are the unlignified areas. Okay? So हा होल आहे का? नाही. म्हणजे पोर आहे का? नाही. म्हणजे imperforated चा अर्थ काय होतो? Pits present आहे, not pores. I have got my point, and that will help in the conduction of water. And as I have already told you, the wall will be made up of what, Buchulo? Lignin. And lignin is impermeable to water. And this lumen will be used for the conduction of water. So this plastic ka bottle, the plastic is impermeable to water. So can I use it to carry water? Yes. So that similarly lignin is impermeable to water. So will water leak out of the walls? No. It will only travel through the unlignified areas. Ayana? So can I say it has created a conduit, a channel for water transport. Last of the laksha. What did I say? It has created what? All the tracheids together. एक के ऊपर एक ऐसे ट्रकीज होंगे, तो सब लोग ने मिल के क्या क्रिएट किया? एक conduit, CONDURET, conduit म्हणजे काय? Channel for what, बच्चों? Water transport. I hope my point is very clear. Whereas in angiosperms, the majority is made up of what, bachalo? Tracheae, which are also called as the vessels. Now you have one vessel element placed above the other. So these are few cells. How many elements are shown in this diagram, bachalo? 4. And these cells are fused together. So can I use the word syncytium? Is it a new word? Where have you heard it, bachalo? Multinucleate syncytial condition in the case of muscles, striated muscles. These are na? Okay. In fungus, you are using the word sinusitic condition. So many cells which are called as vessel elements have all fused together. Ayana? And the nucleus in the cytoplasm becomes dead, as a result of which you get a continuous pipeline which is called as a vessel. What do you get, bachalo? You get a continuous pipeline which is called as a vessel. So what is this whole pipeline called? Vessel, which is made up of many vessel elements. And this my diagram over here, it is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4 what, bachalo? Vessel elements. I hope my class followed what I said. Yes or no? So these are the different what, bachalo? Vessel elements. Are we conceptually clear? Now, between the walls, it shows the presence of. अभी मैंने वो एक वॉल को निकाल दिया बाहर, दोनों के बीच का एक वॉल निकाल दिया, and I see the presence of perforations. I see the presence of what? Pores. What's my point? I hope you got this diagram what I have done. ये बीच का जो wall था उसको बाहर निकाल के ऐसे दिखा रहा हूँ, so that I could show you what pores that are present, through which conduction of water will take place. There is water and minerals. There are few families of angiosperms where the vessels are absent. So remember one example, that is Trocodendron. Trocodendron is an example of a angiosperm which is vesselless. Okay, and that's from your NCRT exemplar, not there in the text. Okay, Trocodendron is an example of what a vesselless angiosperm. Now, the inner walls, they show depositions of lignin in a very specific pattern. Okay, like if you look at this water bottle, the depositions of plastic are in a particular pattern. Like this is the pattern. Some of you may have some other pattern on the wall of the plastic. Understood what I'm talking about? Patterns. Similarly, the inner walls show the presence of lignification in particular patterns. So how is the lignin deposition? The lignification on the inner walls shows what would you know? Patterns. Like this is the first two patterns. This is called spiral pattern. This is called as the first one. Circular is the annular pattern. And this is which pattern? Spiral pattern. Then you have a ladder-like pattern, which is called scalariform, a ladder-like pattern. Then this is a network, which is called reticulate pattern. This is called as pitted pattern, and this is called as the bordered pitted pattern. So what are the different types of patterns which you know? Annular pattern, spiral pattern, scalariform, reticulate, pitted, and bordered pitted. Did you get it, everybody? Oh, got it? Annular and spiral are mostly found in the protoxylem. And reticulate, pitted, and bordered pitted, and scalariform are found in the metaxylem elements. Okay? Bordered pitted pattern is considered to be the most advanced type of pitted pattern. So angiosperm families which are considered to be advanced will show the presence of a bordered pitted. Then to give mechanical support, you will have xylem fibers, which is nothing but xylem sclerenchyma, which you have studied previously. And for storage of tannins, resins, you have the living cells, that is called as xylem parenchyma. So parenchyma in xylem will be called as xylem parenchyma. Did you get my point, everybody? Okay. So this was about the whole description about whom which law? Xylem. So xylem is a living tissue or a dead tissue? Dead tissue. It is made up of tracheates, tracheae, xylem sclerenchyma, xylem parenchyma. Which is the only dead tissue, which is the only living tissue in the dead xylem? Xylem parenchyma. Right? Gymnosperms and pteridophytes show mostly tracheae are also known as vessels. It is a dead zinc cytid made up of multiple elements. The end walls of the tracheates, are they porous or imperforate? Imperforate. And what is the difference? Imperforate means they show the presence of pitting. It's very simple, right? Inner wall shows the presence of what? Patterns in lignifications, which can either be like a ring, which is called as annular, like a spring, spiral, like a ladder, scalariform, branch network called reticulate, pitted, and bordered.